students, welcome to another video of our Navigator series, wherein we learn the strategy of preparing for the UPSC Civil Services examination. Today the topic is about the importance of editorials and opinion articles in the UPSC Civil Services examination. So let's begin. First, let's begin with the very basics. For example, what exactly is an editorial or an opinion article? So, editorial is one which will most of the times represent the collective opinion of the newspaper's editorial board itself. Opinion article, on the other hand, gives a diversity of views as it brings in the discussion about various topics and issues from guest authors, experts, or columnists which offer their personal view. Moving forward, let's find out what are the objectives of the video today. So the biggest question is, why read editorials or op-ed for this particular examination? So it is very simple. It helps us across all the three stages of this examination, namely prelims, mains, and the personality test or the interview. And secondly, it also has higher utility across all the GS papers, including the essay paper also. Now, the first step that we should know while preparing for this particular examination, that we are not supposed to read each and every editorial or opinion article. We have to select and sieve out only those articles which are relevant directly to the examination. So, there will be two categories, namely, there would be certain articles which are to be selected, whereas other articles have to be safely omitted. Let's find out which are these articles. So directly, what do we have to select? One, as simple as something which forms part of the syllabus. That is, we will focus on editorials and op-eds, which is the opinion articles, that discuss, say, governance or public policy, international relations, economic issues, social justice, environmental concerns, as these topics are most relevant to the UPSC syllabus. Secondly, what else can be the way of choosing the important articles? It is a simpler way. It is actually going by the list of articles that the institute is providing you with daily. Let's have a look at this list. For example, this is the editorial list that was provided by the institute yesterday. It directly gives you what topics are to be read and what are to be left out. For example, if we see the first topic is a learning curve, which is on the page 6, then a 3-tier war in West Asia with no end game. So this exactly fits in with our first point, which says that pick up those topics which are directly relevant to the syllabus. So here, when we read a 3-tier war in West Asia with no end game, we come to know that it is directly related to international relations under the GS 2 syllabus. So on and so forth. Similar list is provided for the Indian Express as well. Moving ahead, now once we have come to know what to select, we should also know what to reject then. So what has to be rejected? 1. Purely political articles can be safely omitted. Second, something which is not at all related to the syllabus. Thirdly, there are certain articles which sound to be quite controversial or even polarizing commentary. Articles that focus on extreme viewpoints or sensationalism can distract from the objective analysis required for the exam. Also, repetitive content. An issue or an important, relevant contemporary issue takes time to build. Once we have read enough articles on a particular topic, for example, the the one nation, one election, which is in news, if we have read enough articles and got our important points and a balanced perspective, then we may stop reading those articles again. That's why it is said that repetitive content should be rejected. Editorials that reiterate previously covered topics without offering new insights may not be worth your time. Okay, so let's implement what we have just discussed. We'll see that which article we will reject. This is an article titled Reflections on America's Customary Face-Off. So when we go through this particular highlight, okay, let's not waste our time and go through the entire article and then decide that, oh, this had to be rejected. So we'll simply read either the highlight, or if the highlight is not provided, we can directly read just the conclusion to find out whether it is important for our exam or not. So the highlight says, the long tradition of American presidential debates has meant make or break for presidents and presidential aspirations. So by this we have understood that it is something related to the history of the presidential debates in the US, which we do not find much utility in our exam, so we will reject it. Let's again see a new article which can be easily rejected or omitted. We do not have to read it. So the topic is politicizing the laddu. The Tirupati laddu issue should be limited to one of quality control. By reading the title, we feel that it's important. But then when you go halfway, you will find that it is only talking about the two political parties in the state, that who is wrong and who is correct. So this is purely a political article. And even if we have something important towards the fag end of the syllabus, we can actually reject this particular article. Now, as we have mentioned that our objective is to know the importance of editorials and opinion articles across the journey of this particular exam. So let's begin. Helpful across all the stages of the exam. First is preliminary stage. How can it be useful here? Let's see. When contemporary issues are actually repeated multiple times in different articles, either in the form of editorials or opinion articles, knowingly or unknowingly, some very important pre-related facts get ingrained into our memories. So this helps us to find out or at least arrive at the right answer while solving questions related to pre. Now, second utility is that how it is important in prelims. It sometimes gives us very important terms in the news. For example, we will see that there is something called as the octopus war. Right? We will see it in the later part of this video. So they can ask that what is this term meaning? Or if they can ask us, say something regarding the quad, some declaration associated directly to the quad. So these terms we get from reading a number of times the editorials and opinion articles. And this helps us to solve preliminary questions. Thirdly, it also helps us in a CSAT paper. How? Because when we develop a habit of reading the newspaper daily, especially the editorials and the opinion articles, we get familiar with vocabulary, which might be used in our reading comprehension passages. And therefore, our speed of reading increases and also our speed of understanding or comprehending a particular passage increases, directly helping us in the CSAT paper. So we'll try to implement that how reading articles from the newspaper can actually help us in preliminary stage. Now, all of us know that quad has been in news for quite some time now because US has hosted it, India has participated, and so on, right? So when we read these editorials, when we read these articles regularly, we come to know that, say for a beginner, it is important to know what exactly quad stands for or what kind of grouping is it. Also, if there are certain terms which are in news related directly to the quad, that also should be known. So look, here we come to know after reading various editorials that it's always given quad is a grouping of 4 countries. So a beginner should know that the US, Australia, India and Japan are the part of it. Then second important term regarding the quad is Cancer moonshot. So the question in prelims can be asked that Cancer moonshot is related to which grouping? Or they can go deeper and ask a few provisions regarding the same initiative. So what can we derive actually? That quad stands for Quadrilateral Security Dialogue. We come to know that this is the full form after reading a number of editorials. It is also a diplomatic partnership. So sometimes we are asked statement-based questions and they might say that quad is a grouping of 4, but it is a security partnership, which it is not. It is a diplomatic partnership between 4 nations. Second important term-related question can be Quad Cancer moonshot. So this will involve contributions from all 4 countries to combat cervical cancer. In prelims, we may be asked, maybe they calling it, say, blood cancer or something, which is not the right answer. Then sometimes the preliminary questions are figure related, facts and figure related, and they try to change the exact fact, which is the correct answer. So while reading editorials, I found out that India will commit $10 million towards screening for the disease. However, UPSC may ask us and say that we will be committing $10 billion. So we have to be careful. These important facts can easily be derived and ingrained into our memories after repetitive readings of the important editorials. Now directly come to the second stage, how it helps us for mains. Now mains, we know that it is a subjective part of the examination and we have to do rigorous answer writing practice. Now, once we have read editorials and opinion articles on a daily basis, what we find is we get a 360-degree perspective of any issue which is relevant for our exam. How do we get it? As we have seen in the previous slides, that there would be editorials, there would be guest authors, there would be some experts who are giving their views. So in this way, we try to write a balanced answer. For example, in One Nation, One Election, one author might give the positives, but another author may give the negatives. Yet another article would be giving, say, the way forward or solutions to overcome these negatives. So in this way, we get a perfectly balanced answer wherein we will mention the problems, the challenges and the opportunities as well as solutions for those particular challenges. Further, let's see that there can be second benefit related to our mains examination. That is, it gives us an edge over what answers others are writing. How does that happen? Because when we read good articles in the opinion articles or in the editorial section, we get to know various data points, various interesting case studies, and some very good international best practices. Now, what is the use? Use is that when we give our answers in mains, when we write them, each point must be substantiated with some verifiable either data point or some case study which has been successful or maybe a failure in a particular state of India or maybe in a country. And when we write these substantiating points, our answers become better than what others are writing. Okay, now let's discuss that how we get to know the importance of reading editorials and opinion articles for our essay papers. It directly helps us for our essay papers, as one gets exposed to various styles and structuring of writing. See, when we read various opinion articles or editorials, we see that certain authors would love to begin their articles with some interesting anecdotes or some story. Yet another would try to structure their articles in the question-answer format. That improves the interest of the reader, and it also makes it very lucid and easy to understand. So, when we get exposed to these many styles of writing, we can directly pick one or adapt to one of these styles and use it in our essay papers. So, this is also an importance that editorials serve. Another important thing is that one single article can actually be used in multiple GS papers and even essay. So, this means one article but multiple uses. And hence, the saying less is more. Okay, now whatever we've discussed with respect to mains, we will try to implement it. Okay, so as we had discussed that we get exposed to style of writing essays, anecdote based and question answer format. So how can this happen? Let's read this particular news article, which is an editorial. It says the kids are online. Basically, this article talks about the dangers of exposing children to social media and various other platforms on the internet. Now, just focus on how the author has tried to open the article. It is a beautiful way and we can actually use it in our essay. It says, now that the digital genie is out of the bottle, can restrictions on smartphone and or social media usage for children put it back in, at least until they attain the emotional maturity to navigate the online world. So this particular reference to the genie in the bottle can actually be used for a number of topics in essays where we are trying to show that something has already been introduced. For example, technology, or for example, the social media platform. And now, can we actually tame it or put it back into the bottle? If not, then what can be the way forward? So this is one of the styles of introducing your essay. Now, coming to the second point, which we had discussed, that we get a balanced answer by reading various editorials and opinion articles. How would that happen? This article is actually suggesting either a total ban or some sort of regulation over these platforms so as to safeguard and protect our children. Now, a balanced answer or a balanced view would be that we should know why regulation should be done, but we should also know why ban should not be imposed. Once we get points regarding both these, towards the end, we should find some way out. So let's find out in this particular article. It says that why ban shouldn't be imposed. It says that this age of technology is actually open to all. So if we try to restrict our children, then it may violate their rights, that is, to equality of opportunity, information, privacy, among others. So let's not ban it totally. So we have got one point, that why let's not ban it completely. Second point is, they say that India, where there is a deep digital divide, such actions, that is totally banning something, only end up cutting off the already vulnerable people like the girls and the girl children and the children from marginalized communities. So that's why let's not ban it. Now we have got 2 points that why we should not ban. Now let's find out, but we have to regulate something so that children are protected. So why we need to regulate? Let's read. It says, children are uniquely vulnerable to the threats posed by smartphones and social media because of their greater neuroplasticity. Now this is an interesting point, which makes it easier for them to adapt to these new technologies without necessarily having the emotional and mental tools to navigate them. So it is such an important point that why we should regulate the use of social media and internet for our children. Now we've got a balanced view that why total ban should not be, but why some regulation has to be there. Towards the end, we will also find a way out. It says that the key is a wider conversation that is not bogged down by the seemingly difficult project and shared responsibilities. So, the way out is an open conversation and shared responsibility. That is, let's not just throw all the responsibility on the shoulders of just the parents, or let's not shift the entire burden of safeguarding the children only on these digital platform companies. So let's share it. That's why it says shared responsibility, that is, parents, schools, and governments must work together to ensure safer and more fulfilled childhoods. So we have implemented that. From this particular very small article, we have got to know one way of opening our essay. So we have come to know a style of writing. Second, we have got balanced view regarding the regulation of social media and internet for children. And towards the end, we have also got some way forward or solution. Moving forward, we will try to know that what other benefits the editorials and opinion articles would give. So let's find out that how reading editorials and opinion articles are also helpful across all the papers, namely GS 1, 2, 3, 4 and even the essays. We'll take up this article. Under this article, we can see that less is more. Just by reading one particular article, we can actually apply it to almost all papers or at times to more than one paper. So this makes our task easier. Read one article and apply it to many papers. So this is an article which talks about the complex process of restoring the contaminated lakes. It gives us way forward. Okay, which says that the right way to approach restoration is to therefore set the right expectations. Second is right expectations with stakeholders. So out of these expectations, it mentions first we need to identify the nature of the problem. Second, they mention that we need to prioritize the issues. Prioritize the issues to be addressed. Third, we need to conduct comprehensive baseline assessments clearly stating the challenges. And fourth way out is that based on these available funds, we need to estimate the levels of improvement that are achievable. Finally, we need to set realistic expectations with each stakeholder and devise an exit strategy to ensure the sustainability of interventions throughout the design period. Now, why have I read this out aloud is that this way out, if we see it in silos, we get to know that we can actually write it as a way forward or a solution for any problem. There has to be realistic expectation setting. There has to be prioritizing of our aims. Then there has to be enough funds. There also has to be an exit option. For example, if we say that the strategy is not working out, so can we not use it across all the papers wherever we find a question that is issue or challenge based? This is one thing that we read one article regarding restoration of lakes, but we can actually write this way forward to a number of questions across various papers. Second is, with proper planning, phased targets and collaboration, we can make progress in rejuvenating lakes in urban landscapes. So this also, if we remove rejuvenating lakes and urban landscapes and keep another challenge here, this format can actually be used elsewhere also. Now, this topic is about restoring the lakes which are contaminated by anthropogenic reasons. How it is actually an important topic which can be used in many papers. See, under GS1, there is a topic in the syllabus, urbanization, their problems and remedies. So can we not use this particular topic as a point that we are actually destroying the lakes? Yes. So utility in GS1. GS1 also has the geography portion. So there is a topic which says changes in critical geographical features including water bodies. So again, this particular piece of article has utility in another section of our GS1. Now come to GS2. In GS2, we read important aspects of governance. So perhaps poor restoration of the lakes can be seen as a governance failure. Okay. Next is GS3. Now GS3 includes environment and the topic conservation, environmental pollution and degradation, environmental impact assessment directly relates to the complex process of restoring lakes. That is, conservation and environmental pollution may actually include the contamination and destroying of lakes also. So it has utility in GS3 as well. Now, when it comes to essay, so essay has a number of dimensions. Now, wherever the need is to open a dimension which relates directly to the environment or perhaps the anthropogenic causes or our greed due to which we are ending up contaminating the natural resources, we can anytime write this particular example. Okay. Now, there was this last point which we had discussed, that data points or maybe some very good case studies and examples give us an edge over others. So let's try to find out a data point in this particular article itself. So here it says that the KSPCB study revealed that all 110 lakes fall only under categorized of D, that is lake water suitable for wildlife propagation and fisheries, and category E, which says water suitable for irrigation, industrial cooling, etc. So in short, it says that a recent report by Karnataka State Pollution Control Board stated that not one lake out of 110 lakes studied in Bengaluru meets the potable water quality standard. So wherever we are writing that we as humans are actually contaminating our lakes, we can substantiate it with this particular data point, a study done by KSPCB. Right, let's move ahead. The third stage of our exam is interview or the personality test. Now the question is, how these editorials and opinion articles are important and directly useful in our interview as well. So, when we appear for the interview, we have to be very exact in our expression. We also have to use vocabulary or the technical terms related to various subjects, like we should know what is checkbook diplomacy, what is the term anti-incumbency, what is the term de-escalation. So when we use the right vocabulary, we get better marks. So directly we get exactness of expression and apt vocabulary when we read editorials and opinion articles for our interview preparation. Also, directly the board members ask us questions related to contemporary issues. For example, what China is doing with respect to other countries in the South China Sea, or maybe what Myanmar is going through. So these are the contemporary issues which we find in editorials. Once they ask us such questions, we can easily give the answers and get better marks. Okay, as I just mentioned that we get exactness of expression. Now how? We all know war is going on and Israel is actually fighting the war with various countries and with various extremist groups and terror outfits. So instead of saying so much, which I have said in a lengthy form, we can actually just use it in this particular editorial by Stanley Johnny, where he mentions that this is actually the octopus doctrine. So instead of telling that one single country is fighting on multiple fronts and is fighting with a number of organizations against the number of organizations and countries, we can actually say that octopus doctrine is the term where, let's find out, Iran is the head of the octopus and the militias Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthis, Hashad al-Shabi, etc. are the tentacles. So this is Iran. Right. And we can, in the three-tier war, Israel wants to destroy or degrade the tentacles and weaken the octopus and thereby reshape West Asia. Is this an achievable goal? And the editorial article moves forward. So if we directly use this term octopus doctrine, it gives exactness of expression and it also portrays you as a well-read person in the interview or personality test. So thank you, that's all. I hope that the video would be helpful in your journey of preparation of this examination. Thank you.